Hi, I'm Willie Erskine. I'm a professor at the University of Western Australia in the Centre for Legumes and Mediterranean Agriculture. And we're researching the food security in East Timor. East Timor is one of the nearest neighbours to Australia, amongst Papua New Guinea. It's just off the northwest coast of Australia. And they have a major problem with food security for much of the rural population. That population is about 1.1 million. About 80% is involved with agriculture, while about 40% are below the poverty line. And what happens is that when they're waiting for the rain during the main growing season, many families have run out of food. Typically, a family grows their crops in about 3/4 to half a hectare. The agriculture is based on cutting down the vegetation and the trees, burning it, and then growing crops for about a year and a half, till the weeds overcome them and they go somewhere else. So they're growing maize, they're growing rice in some of the wetter areas, and they're growing sweet potatoes and cassava and peanuts. There's the staples. Now the Indonesians and the Portuguese before them, they didn't do any work to try and improve those crops. So it's basically ground zero so far as improvement is concerned. And we found that the easiest way to try and fill that hungry period at the end of the rainy season, it was trying to improve the food crops. So we went and brought a lot of improved genetic material from similar agroclimates, that's Thailand, the Philippines, bits of Indonesia, from the international centres working on those crops. So for rice, we went to the International Rice Research Institute in the Philippines and sourced a lot of rice germplasm. For maize, we got material from the Maize and Wheat International Centre based in Mexico. None of this is GM, it's just ordinary open pollinated material. And after initial sorting out on what remained of the research stations, we then took the best material we could find and grew it with farmers. We just said, okay, from your garden, can you look out 5 by 5 square meters, and with this seed, the planting material that you've got, can you just grow that material and compare it with under your own conditions? So no change in fertilizer, no change in sowing date, just the new material. And we followed those people, those households during the growing cycle, then after harvest, and we asked them, okay, please help us measure this material. What do you think of it? Would you grow this material again? And then we asked them how it ate. How did the maize pound? Could you use it properly in food? How did you market it if you had any extra? And followed with hundreds of farmers what they made of all these new material. And all this program is embedded closely within the Ministry of Agriculture, within the government of East Timor. So what have we got from this? So far, we've got maize that's producing between 45 and 50% more yield than the local maize. And it just means larger cobs. The local size of the cob would be about that size, whereas the new improved one would be about that size. And with rice, in which the Indonesians did some work, there's been less spectacular increase in yield of about 25%. With sweet potato, we've got between 60 and 120% yield increase just with replacing the planting material. One of the exciting things with sweet potato is that one of the new varieties that's performing really well is a little bit orange fleshed as in the orange of carrots, which the colour is coming from the beta carotene, and that's what has a huge effect on vitamin A, because after calorie malnutrition, vitamin A malnutrition is the second worst problem in the island. And I should say that East Timor ranks number 3 in the world amongst the worst countries for the number or proportion of malnourished kids. And it's a combination of calories and vitamin A deficiency. So not only have we got high yielding sweet potatoes, but also they're contributing to the vitamin A deficiency that's there. Now, the major thrust is now to improve the seed production systems so that we can multiply it up and get it out from the 7 provinces that we were working in into the rest of the country. So we're working with the government now to try and increase the amount of seed produced in the formal seed sector, which is run by the government, and then helping to develop an informal seed sector, which means getting farmers together in order that they can grow seed, make enough money in order to make it worthwhile, but then pass the seed on by selling it to neighboring farmers. And the last survey we did, it's something like 33,000 different households in the country are now growing this improved material of one of the or other of the improved varieties of maize, sweet potato, rice, cassava and peanuts. That represents about 15% of the farming population. And our target in another couple of years is to jack that up so about half the farming populations will have been growing the new material and make some surplus. What's really nice coming back to East Timor after a couple of years is to find that there are now, beside the road, there are now little stalls being set up, and you can find farmers trying to sell their excess material. It's their first money that they're coming into the economy, making some money, and then we're trying to track what happens. What do they do with that first money? Do they use it for books for school? Are they redoing the roof on the house? Are they buying medicines? Are they buying clothes? Are they having a party? They're using the money for a wide range of different reasons. But it's interesting to track what happens to the first money in a household. So the university is involved not only in helping to design the experiment, but also in capacity building, not only in East Timor, but also bringing some people from East Timor down to the university to do masters and PhD. And some of that work, the research work that the students, these master's students do, is done here. Some of it is done in East Timor, so that they can go back and play a larger role in food security in the future.